Yankees Files podcast. We're back. I'm Will Harris. You're not Alec Whipple. And the rest of you are fans of the best team in the American League, the team with the highest WRC plus in the American League, the team with the lowest ERA in baseball, the team that it seems like just keeps winning all of its games as long as Juan Soto is around and they end in regulation. That team, of course, would be your beloved, my beloved New York Yankees. And we got a lot to get to on this episode. But first, you aren't Alec Whipple. You're Joey. You're DJLeMVP from the Battle in New York and Twitter and the Crosstown Sports Network. Joey, it's great to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be back. Those of you that remember, I had a guest spot on last year. But since then, I started my own podcast called The Battle in New York with my lovely girlfriend, Caroline, and our two friends, Matt Nodell and Rich Hernandez. And we've teamed up, you and I, from Pal the coworker with Yankees Files and Battle in New York. We formed Crosstown Sports. I'm still a menace on Twitter, don't you worry. But I am doing well. How are you doing, my handsome friend?
Doing well, man. It's busy time for me, busy time for Whipple with his fancy law internship. I was up in New York this weekend for some of the Yankees Dodgers series, so we didn't get an episode recorded on our normal timeline, but it was great of you to step in, and this is the advantage of Crosstown Sports. This is the kind of stuff we can do now. People still get an episode. So I'm glad you're here, and I think it's time for us to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we both experienced the Yankees Dodgers series, and it was played under some circumstances that I think were less than ideal. Not only, I feel like I have to keep reminding people of this because the Yankees have the most wins in baseball and, the best run differential, and they keep beating everyone. The Yankees are playing without Garrett Cole. The Dodgers didn't show up without Yamamoto. They didn't show up without Ohtani. They didn't show up without Mookie. They didn't show up without Freeman. Yankees were playing without Garrett Cole. And then on top of that, they were further handicapped by the fact that Juan Soto comes out of the game the night before during that rain delay against the Twins and doesn't show back up until the Yankees get to Kansas City. So I think there are two ways you can interpret the Dodgers series, and I'm interested to know which one you take. The first is, holy cow, it took the Dodgers 11 innings and the BS extra innings rule to beat the Yankees in the first game. And then with Tyler Glasnow, who's been their best pitcher on the mound in game 3, the Yankees pretty much got what they wanted. So any conclusion that the Dodgers are clearly better than the Yankees is ridiculous. The other way to see it, and I think a lot of people do, is holy cow, the Yankees are useless without Juan Soto. They can't score a run unless he's on the field. And we got to be worried if he's hurt or cold in the playoffs. This team can't do anything without him. Which camp do you fall into?
It's funny. A little bit of both. And I'll tell you why. If I just watched the first game, and you're absolutely right, they showed up nearly fully staffed, and we missed arguably our second best player this year in Juan Soto, our best pitcher in
Poteet started that game against Yamamoto. Cody Poteet, and you're doing your best Cody Poteet impression right now.
Right now I am. 72 is my high school football number too, so we ride.
Love that.
But no, Cody Poteet did a great job going toe-to-toe with Yamamoto for about, 4.2 innings?
Mm-hmm.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't know about you, I didn't expect him to shut down the Dodgers.
Not at all.
Now, that was great, and it's like, wow, we can go toe-to-toe with Yamamoto, who I think pitched that was personal for him. That man gave the performance of the year for him. He struck out over the 12 Ks.
He's just a terrific pitcher. I mean, there's no way around it. First of all, I understand what you mean about it being personal, that he wants to, show people how good he is, and he was on this big stage. I don't think there's any reason he'd have anything against the Yankees, but it was 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Just
That was
the
impressive.
Yankees got nothing they wanted. They didn't put the ball in play all that hard. They only had 2 hits to show for it. It's not like it was a strikeout fest, but he got enough of those. It's just, he's a good pitcher. I think we got to deal with the fact that he's a good pitcher.
You don't make $1 million more than Garrett Cole if you're not a good pitcher. And I'll put it at that. And I think if Juan Soto plays that game, I think the Yankees, I don't even want to say skunk them because that doesn't even sound fair. I think the Yankees win that game. Not easily, but we win that game.
The Yankees had a runner on second in the bottom of the 10th, and all they had to do was get the runner in from second to win the game. It was 0-0. And do I have my doubts that it was the right choice for Jahmai Jones to stick on second base when Trent hit that fly ball to right? Yeah, I have my doubts, but Jose Trevino didn't hit the ball out of the infield, foul pop up to third base. Yeah, I agree. I think if Juan Soto's available in that game, the Yankees find a way to win it because the Dodgers didn't score until the 11th inning.
I said it on Twitter. The pitching showed up. The hitting did not. Now, I don't have to tell you what part of that is Juan Soto related, but no Juan Soto, no win in that game. That's as blunt as I can put it. I did speak with some Dodger fans, and they were saying, oh, well, we didn't have Max Muncy. Max Muncy is not Juan Soto. Max Muncy is what I heard. And fellas, if you're listening, you know who you are. We were talking about it over drinks. No Max Muncy does not equate to no Juan Soto. I don't want to hear it.
Max Muncy. That's like saying, I don't know. That's like if you swapped out Soto and Stanton, and we were saying, yeah, the Yankees lost that game. Stanton wasn't in the lineup. Yeah, but you guys had, Soto and Judge and Volpe and whoever else. No. What are you talking about? Why would we care about the performance in a game where Stanton's not in the lineup? That's ridiculous. Max Muncy is a good player, but Juan Soto, I didn't realize Dodger fans were so unreasonable. That's disappointing.
It wasn't who, if they're listening, they're going to think, oh, it's me. It wasn't you. I promise. It was somebody else. But okay. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. Yamamoto, like I said, gave truthfully, I think his best performance. I know there's some where statistically he was better, but he walked in there wanting blood because he skunked the Mets. He skunked the Yankees.
And let's be fair, or let's be clear. Yamamoto can't pitch against the Dodgers because he pitches for the Dodgers, which means the Yankees are the best offense that he could possibly face. And he has a few other scoreless starts this year, but they are 5 innings against the Cardinals, 5 innings against the Cubs, 6 innings against the Nationals, 6 innings against the Diamondbacks. 7 shutout innings against this year's New York Yankees is a ridiculous performance, and good for him.
It's impressive. And, those teams you listed are for the most part, they're lower tier, but they're scrappy teams.
They're fine.
You can't count them out. You look at their rosters and, there are guys that have the ability to go deep. And he walked in and kind of owned it. That picture with Cashman out in Japan?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I was getting some flashbacks to that. I will say quickly. So the game was on Apple TV, for those of you that don't know. I also learned about 8.5 innings in that the game was also on Yes.
Yeah.
So I spent the first 8.5 innings watching that game on my phone on my couch. And I all of a sudden just realized this game is on Yes. They got to do a better job of communicating that.
Joey, why should it be easy for you to find the game that your favorite team is playing against the other best team in baseball? Why would you even want to see that? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
Was there any hype leading up to this? I wasn't really paying attention.
I just found out, I don't know, probably 6:30 that evening that the game was even happening. I had no idea.
I mean, if it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't have known.
Exactly. So I was at the game on Saturday. You were at the game on Saturday. And I've been saying for a long time Teoscar Hernandez should be a Yankee. And I know there's not a lot of room in the Yankees outfield right now, but you know who can't hit home runs against the Yankees? People who are on the Yankees. So as I'm sitting there watching Teoscar Hernandez, a player who I love with all my heart, go yard multiple times to put the Yankees away in that game, I'm thinking, guys, I gave you the solution. This guy should be in pinstripes. What are we doing? And he's having a phenomenal year. I'm very happy for him. He's my favorite kind of player, which is guy who strikes out a lot and hits a bunch of bombs because he makes people angry. He's entertaining. He's fun. I like him, and I'm sad that he ruined my Saturday. Fun fact, I then saw him walking out of the Palace Hotel on Madison Avenue on Sunday. He was like walking to the team bus, and I just walked right by him. Didn't say anything. Wasn't really in a position to do so, but Teoscar Hernandez, just know that I love you, and I would have appreciated your performance a lot more if it had come against a different team. But what was your experience like at the game on Saturday?
So I went with my lovely girlfriend and co-host Caroline. We had a great time, but I was a little uneasy heading in. Nestor, I don't know. Nestor's hit or miss. And like you, and we won't repeat what I put in the group chat, but I like Teoscar Hernandez too. There was an option for him to become a Yankee. I kind of wanted it pretty bad, but that contract he took with the Dodgers really made me salty. And then the 2 home runs he hit really made me even more salty. And it's like, that should have been for us. Like you said, that should
I'm going to say it. I'd rather have Teoscar Hernandez than Alex Verdugo. I would rather have Teoscar Hernandez a million times over than Alex Verdugo. I would even rather have Teoscar Hernandez, who can't play center field, than Trent Grisham, another player who has all of my love. I want Teoscar Hernandez to be on the Yankees. And honestly, as I watched that grand slam go over the fence in left field and I started to walk out of the stadium, I was indignant. It never should have happened. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally right. You know, like I said, I was a little worried about Nestor.
Yep.
But that grand slam off of, I believe it was Tommy Kahnle, was backbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to 10 games this year. I'm 7-3. There has not been a single game. Strong. And I'm undefeated in Soto. I didn't wear Soto Saturday, so that's on me.
Interesting.
I'm 7-0 in Soto. 0-3 in Nestor Team USA, 96 Jeter, and I broke out the LeMahieu jersey because my boy was final. This is my first time seeing my boy in person.
Oh man!
But he did pretty good, 2 for 3.
Yep.
But no, that was demoralizing. I just threw my hands up at that point. I was like, I'm done. This game's over. We're not winning this game.
Should we address the Gleyber Torres-sized elephant in the room?
I think we have to.
So, an error by Gleyber Torres on a potential double play ball set the stage for the Dodgers to load the bases in that inning. Now, from where I was sitting, your runner going from first to second is Mookie Betts, and the guy hitting the ground ball is Shohei Ohtani. Those are 2 guys who aren't slow, and I don't think they were turning the double play. In fact, it looked like it was even going to be hard to get a sure out at second base. So I do think Gleyber was in a tough position, at least from my vantage point. And I'm not excusing Tommy Kahnle walking Mookie to face Shohei in that situation, or then walking Will Smith to bring Teo up with the bases loaded. But it is a 4-2 game. You have 6 outs remaining. You need to keep it to a 2-run deficit. And Gleyber had an opportunity to really come close to putting that inning to bed. And instead, suddenly it's first and second, nobody out. And he's got to make that play. And what more does there have to be to it than he's got to make that play. I don't think it's lost on Gleyber Torres that he's got to make that play. He's played enough baseball to know that. But it's just like, I go to fewer games than you based on where I live. And
not for long.
And Gleyber Torres is one of my favorite baseball players of all time. And I've probably hurt myself with the guys who have been my favorite baseball players at times. But man, when you don't go to that many games and you're sitting in the stands and there's a moderately big moment and your favorite player messes up, that sucks. So that was really unfortunate.
Yeah, it was weird. I was out in 203. I was out in right field, and that whole inning had me just on edge. Yeah. And listen, like we said, the Dodgers have a great lineup. Top to bottom, arguably just as good as I'd say just as good as the Yankees.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just got this ominous feeling that something was going to go down.
Favors. And when you start the inning walk error, you've done them a lot of favors.
You can't give any good team a modicum of a chance for something to happen. What happened against San Francisco on that Sunday game? It was a triple by Volpe, and then Jose Trevino beating out a single.
Yep. Wait. We're going to give credit where credit is due. We know who started that rally. We know who came up first against Camilo Doval. That was one Gleyber Torres who did that. So let's put that out there.
I like that you know where I'm going with that. But no, it was, I just got an ominous feeling with all these guys up. And I like Tommy Kahnle. Maybe not as much as the average Twitter user, because he's like goofy and stuff. I have enough of that in my own personal life. I don't need my baseball players doing that. But it just every at bat, like late in the game, it just felt like every at bat had a potential to just kill us. And you're right. You have to keep it within. Go ahead.
It really sucked that so Volpe got out to end the 6th for the Yankees, and then Verdugo, Judge, Stanton go 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. And you're like, man, that was it felt like that should have been a really good chance. Especially because Volpe was the first guy to face anyone other than Gavin Stone, and he came up with the bases loaded. So you're like, man, we got a chance here. And then Vesia comes in to face Verdugo, Judge, Stanton, and you're like, okay, do some damage. But then top of the Dodgers order comes up again, and you've kind of survived it up until that point. Sure, you had the Teo home run earlier, and the Teo home run earlier, and then there was like the Ohtani single, but I'm not really worried about that. And it's like, just survive this and give yourselves a chance. And they didn't. So yeah, I was feeling the same thing that inning, and that really sucked. But look, I can't be all that mad about a game where the Yankees only score 3 runs, especially when they allow 11. And I understand some of that was garbage time. For me, I think I'd feel I wouldn't feel any differently about the Yankees if they had won game 1 or lost game 1, because a 1-run game in extra innings, like it's a coin flip between two teams that good. It could have easily gone the other way. And when it could have easily gone the other way, it's hard for me to say, well, since the Yankees lost 2 out of 3, they're bad. And if they had won 2 out of 3, they'd be good. But it would feel nicer. It would feel nicer not to have lost that series. It would feel good to know that, if God willing, the Yankees end up in the World Series and it's the Dodgers on the other end, they can say, you know what, we got these guys this year.
So let me.
How much more than that do you take away from the series?
Well, let me just before I answer that, I have a quick question. I'm in 203, and I probably should have asked you this before we recorded, but I'm in 203. I look up and they have the signs. You had a sign, did you not?
I didn't have a sign.
Did they not have a congratulations on your engagement?
No, there was a congratulations on an engagement, but it was not mine.
He had the same exact name as you. First name.
Yeah, that could be true. I feel like I remember noticing something in those announcements like that.
He had the same first name.
What it look it was not me. It
know,
would have been
I know.
really funny.
Okay.
It would have been really funny. It would have been a great bit, but no, it was
Well,
not
I
me.
looked at Caroline and I was like, "Oh, that's so nice." And then the last, the love so and so, I was like, "I don't think that's correct." But I was
Yeah.
like, I'll confirm that when I talk to him later. Anyway,
Oh, that's funny.
my takeaways from this Dodger series, and I'll make it quick because I know we're on a roll here. You know, it would have been great to beat them. And it's, Yankee fans have the built-in excuse of no Juan Soto, no Juan Soto. But 2 out of the 3 of these games, they should have won. And they, again, they got blown out. It happens. But even without Juan Soto, they can play with these guys.
Yeah.
The addition of Juan Soto puts the Yankees over the top. And we knew this the second.
You gotta account for Max Muncy.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Big boy Max Muncy. Sorry you didn't have your third baseman that jacks sometimes. Teoscar Hernandez did more damage than anybody else in that series, including Aaron Judge, who went crazy. I will say this is the one takeaway I have. Shohei Ohtani, 2 hits the entire series. I think he's afraid to play in New York. I think he wants nothing to do to come out here. Every time he comes out here, he gets nervous. Look, I don't know what he does in Queens because I don't pay that much attention to Queens. But every time he comes to the Bronx, pitching, hitting, he lays a goose egg. Shohei Ohtani, 2 hits this whole series. DJ LeMahieu, 3 hits. Are we going to start a narrative? I think
we might have to start a narrative. I remember finding last year, and this must still be true, that Shohei Ohtani has a lower career WRC plus at Yankee Stadium than Isaiah Kiner Falefa. So who's your two-way star? Who is it?
It's IKF.
It's got to be IKF. It's got to be IKF. Who's always IKF?
Yeah, we love IKF. Isaiah, if you're listening, we love you.
One of us loves you. Something crazy happened in Game 3. And Yankee Stadium was screaming, chanting, demanding that Juan Soto pinch hit for Trent Grisham. And Joey, do you know how many times Trent Grisham has won the Gold Glove Award?
You know what? Not off the top of my head. How many times has he won the Gold Glove?
Trent Grisham has won the Gold Glove 2 times. Do you know how many runners were on base when Trent Grisham went yard to give the Yankees the lead in the 3rd game against the Los Angeles Dodgers?
I'm going to go ahead and say 2.
2, 1 for each Gold Glove. And then for the Gold Glove he's going to win this year, he hits the home run. That kind of falls apart. Trent Grisham's a good player. And that's all that I'm trying to explain. And I thought that it was one of the best moments of the season for the Yankees to be trailing in the 6th inning against the Dodgers, against Glasnow, who has given them immense trouble throughout his career. They're on the verge of getting swept. Trent Grisham, to whom Yankee fans have probably not been fair, given the sparseness of his playing time. And he is in the box. 50,000 people are telling him they don't want him there. And he jacks one, completely changes the game. Yankees take the lead, never look back, and go on to beat the Dodgers in Game 3. And I got a stat for you. So you're familiar with win probability added. It takes any play and it tells you how much more likely are you to win the game based on how that play went.
Right.
Well, we can measure the win probability added of every home run hit by every player on the Yankees this year. And the best home run by win probability added this year for the New York Yankees was by sorry, let me make sure I get this right, because I want to give credit where it's due, and you can guess, and I think you're going to get it right.
I'm going to say it was the home run I brought up earlier, and that was Juan Soto's go-ahead home run against San Francisco.
That's correct. It was Juan Soto off of Camilo Doval. Do you know who has the next two biggest home runs by win probability added for the 2024 New York Yankees?
I'm going to take a swing for the fences and say a little Trent Grisham.
That would be Trent Grisham. So not only does Trent Grisham have two of the three most impactful home runs for the Yankees this year by win probability added, not only was the home run he hit off Tyler Glasnow the second biggest home run of the year by win probability added for the New York Yankees, but Trent Grisham's home runs on average are more valuable by win probability added than the home runs of any other player on the New York Yankees who's hit at least two home runs. It's actually, his are the most valuable overall, but I took out John Birdie so that I can ask you this question.
Okay.
There are 11 guys who have at least two home runs for the New York Yankees this year. Who do you think are the top three in win probability added per home run? So which three guys hit the most important home runs on average for the New York Yankees this year?
So
you know who's first.
I'm going to take some context clues. I'm going to say Soto, Grisham, and Judge.
You went 1 for 3. Only Trent Grisham is in the top three.
Wow.
Trent is first. The other two are Oswaldo Cabrera, who you got to think of the one he hit in Baltimore. You got to think of what he did in Houston. So you got Oswaldo Cabrera is second, and Anthony Volpe is third. Judge and Soto are both right around the team average. So Soto is just above the team average. Judge is just below the team average. I do think that there's a respect in which hitting so many home runs hurts them because, like, they're not all going to be super important. Right. Who do you think are the bottom three? Who hits the important home runs? The minimum is 2, but these guys all have at least 5.
I'll say Stanton.
Yep.
Definitely Stanton. He's the king of garbage time home runs. Verdugo and Rizzo.
Stanton and Rizzo are right. Verdugo's actually had some pretty solid ones. That one in Arizona, I think, is carrying him a little bit. Trevino is the other guy in the bottom three. Okay. So top three, Grisham, Cabrera, Volpe. Their home runs tend to be super important to the outcome of games. Trevino, Stanton, Rizzo, their home runs tend to be pretty unimportant to the outcome of games. Now, win probability, not a perfect stat. There are things that affect the management of your team that aren't reflected in it. For example, if you go from up 3 to up 6 on a 3-run home run, now you don't need to use your closer, but it's pretty hard to blow a 3-run lead in 1 inning. So win probability doesn't think that's all that important. So there are things in there that you can take issue with, but on average, the most important home runs for the New York Yankees this year, when you're talking about the outcomes of their games, are hit by one Trent Grisham, and it's time for people to respect him.
Let me hop in really quick. So we're talking Trent. Yankees got Soto and Grisham. You know who hit a walk-off home run last night? That was also involved in that deal, not for the Yankees, for the Padres.
Did Kyle Higashioka hit a walk-off home run last night?
The Higster went deep off the A's last night, and I was elated. I was out with the boys, but I came home, turned on the game, and I watched my friend Kyle, in quotes, take I believe it wasn't Mason Miller, but it was somebody off the A's, way deep, and I got hyped. Shout out Higgy. I also love you, Higgy.
Good for Kyle Higashioka, someone who has never gotten any respect on this podcast for what he did to Gary Sanchez.
All right, well that's
we can put that aside. It was off Scott Alexander. It was off Scott Alexander. Good for Kyle Higashioka. So I think one thing that you made reference to when you talked about Teoscar Hernandez's ridiculous series is that Aaron Judge has been on a tear. And we know Aaron Judge has been on a tear. I was talking on our last episode about how Aaron Judge has, had whatever OPS it was in in the month of May and how his slugging percentage alone would have been a better OPS than like the guy with the 20th best OPS in the month. Like there are all kinds of crazy stats about how Aaron Judge is doing things at the plate that just people don't do. And today I found one that I think is even crazier. I was asked, do you think Judge is going to hit 60 or more home runs this year? And is it reasonable to say that prime Aaron Judge is a consistent 60 home run hitter? And 60 home runs is a preposterous number. It's ridiculous. So I looked at the numbers, Joey. And in his last 331 games, which is more than 2 seasons, more than 2 full seasons of baseball, it goes back to the beginning of the 2022 season, Aaron Judge has averaged 61 home runs per 162 games. He has 124 home runs in his last 331 games. He has a 200 OPS plus, 200 WRC plus in that time, 124 home runs. Aaron Judge is doing stuff that no other hitter can do and no other hitter does. And it's unbelievable. So what I'm trying to understand is, I think in 2017, we all thought we knew what Aaron Judge's ceiling looked like. And then in 2022, we said, no, this is as good as it can be. And then for all of 2023, when he was healthy, and all of this year in the aggregate, it has stayed as good as it was in 2022. How is he doing this?
You know, if I knew, I wouldn't be here right now. But this guy has been unbelievable. And that average, what was the aggregate, was 61 home runs?
61 home runs per 162 games has been his pace since 2022 started. 124 home runs since the 2022 season started.
That is unreal. This has been so exciting. And that includes the awful, and I don't say this lightly, awful start he got off to. And forgive me, I must have missed what you guys were talking about. Were you guys concerned at the time? No?
Joey.
I mean, look, I had to ask. But there were a lot of people that were concerned. And
there were.
I was out with some friends at a game, and one of my friends' dads was like, Joey, what's up with Aaron Judge? Like, is he going to be okay? And I kind of plagiarized Booney's quote, and I said, he's Aaron Judge. He's going to be fine. There's no way this doesn't happen. What I didn't expect is for him to just go on this torrid pace. I believe he's hitting 400 since April 27th. He's hitting 400.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. We are seeing something right now that truthfully we've never seen before. I know Barry Bonds, I know Sammy Sosa, but they had a little extra.
They had some stuff going for them. So 2022, I was often describing as the best non-Bonds season since Mickey Mantle, which I think was true, and you can interpret non-Bonds in whatever way you want. And one of the most impressive things about Aaron Judge's 2022 season was that, people talk a lot about 300, 400, 500. You hit 300, your OBP is 400, you slug 500. You're having a phenomenal year. Well, 2022 Aaron Judge gave us 311, 425, 686. So that's 300, 400, 650, 680, whatever number you want to choose. Aaron Judge this year is at 309, 437, 712. 300, 400, 700. We have seen again, depending on how you account for steroid guys, the last 300, 400, 700 season, Barry Bonds did it 3 times, 01, 02, 04. Sosa did it in 2001. Larry Walker did it in 1997, and we know where Larry Walker was playing his home games. He was a phenomenal player, but we know where he was playing those games. Before that, Mickey Mantle, 1956. Aaron Judge is doing stuff that people do not do, and certainly that people do not do in this era of baseball, in this run-scoring environment. When I talk about Aaron Judge being the modern Mickey Mantle, and the fact that what we are experiencing right now with peak Aaron Judge is what mid-50s Mickey Mantle, who is winning triple crowns and, hitting home runs at a torrid pace and all that stuff. Sure, they're not exactly the same players, whatever. This is the caliber of player we are talking about. I now know I can relate to what my grandpa talks about when he talks about watching Mickey Mantle because of what I've seen from Aaron Judge in the last 3 years. This is unbelievable. This is unreal. This shouldn't, literally in the last 70 years, no one at sea level who's not on drugs has done this.
Oh my God. All right. No, you're right. This has been absolutely unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, if we have time for a quick anecdote or
please,
quick story. 2022 was unbelievable, of course.
Yeah.
I ended up catching a lot of games the second half of 2022. This chase was historic. I wanted to be a part of every moment of it. And there was someone in my life at the time that asked me, why are you going to so many games? And my response was, this is unprecedented, and I don't know the next time I'll see something like this in my lifetime ever again. And that wasn't me counting out Aaron Judge. That was looking at it realistically. And safe to say, this is looking like peak Judge. Where does the peak end? I don't know. But now I'm going to even more games because I don't know when I'll ever see a player like this ever again.
Yeah, I mean, we can reasonably safely say that, I think you have to put Ohtani aside in these discussions, given the pitching and hitting thing. We can reasonably safely say that, again, steroids aside, we will not see another Aaron Judge in, decades and decades and decades. I again think of my grandpa as, in middle school and high school watching Mickey Mantle, and he's in his 80s watching Aaron Judge. So there's your, maybe when we're in our 90s, we'll see someone like this again. That is when we talk about generational players. And I know that, the Yankees Twitter account is always posting the generational Juan Soto. There's a generational player on the Yankees. His name's Aaron Judge.
You're absolutely right. And it's funny. My grandparents have a similar Mickey Mantle story. My grandmother always likes to say, she's this little Italian woman from the Bronx. And my voice is a little shot, but I'm going to try to do the impression. So bear with me. She always tells me, she goes, Joseph, when I was dating your grandfather, this doesn't even sound correct. So I'm gonna scrap that. When I was dating your grandfather, our first date was at Yankee Stadium, and we paid a nickel to sit in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium, and I watched Mickey Mantle play. And I hear that at 7, and I'm like, okay, Grandma, sure, cool, whatever. That's looking like that's gonna be me in about 70 years, and I'm gonna say I got to watch Aaron Judge in right field and center field. Not for a nickel, because inflation's a bitch. But I got to watch Aaron Judge playing right in center field and saw countless home runs. And it's something that you can pass down generationally. You want to talk about the generational Juan Soto, the generational Aaron Judge, the generational memories we're getting from between 2022. We don't count 2023. 2022 and 2024 is going to be spectacular.
Yeah, there is no one like him. Whether you want to look at how consistently hard he hits the ball or the frequency with which he hits home runs or whatever you want to look at, there is nobody who is like Aaron Judge. And I think, people just ought to appreciate what a ridiculous player he is and how incredibly good he has been as a member of the New York Yankees, who are in progress as we are recording this and only put up 6 runs in the first inning. So, that's all. That's pretty good. So Cody Poteet has a nice little lead to play with there. So Joey, one thing that you're not going to get out of here without us discussing is the dominance, the absolute dominance of a player named Clayton Walter Holmes. And we happen to know that there are some people who don't appreciate the way I talk about Clay Holmes. And maybe it's not important for me to point out that since he became a Yankee, he's allowed a 553 OPS to opposing batters. And the guy that everyone loves so much that people can't, get over how great he was, like the all-time saves leader, the only unanimous Hall of Famer, whoever that is, allowed a 555 OPS to opposing batters. I'm not joking when I say Clay Holmes is the modern Rivera. I'm not saying that Clay Holmes is going to do it for 20 years, but I am saying that there are a lot of things that Clay Holmes does extremely similarly to Mariano Rivera. He generates weak contact, he gets the ball on the ground, and he converts saves at an extremely high rate because it's really hard to do damage against Clay Holmes. And people say things to me like, Will, aren't you worried about him walking guys? Yeah, his on-base percentage allowed as a Yankee is like 20 points higher than Rivera's, which translates to like, what is it? Like one guy every 6 to 8 appearances or one guy every 10 appearances, which is 6 guys a year or something. It's nothing. And you know what else he's better at than Rivera? He doesn't allow extra base hits. He doesn't allow home runs. And that's why he's so good. And I can understand that someone might be put off by me saying Clay Holmes is the modern Rivera because Mariano Rivera was awesome. And we all internalized that and we got to experience that and enjoy that over an extremely long time. But what I will not stand for is a guy allowing a lower OPS to opposing batters than Mariano Rivera did and people referring to him as cardiac Clay. I cannot do it. I cannot allow it, and I cannot tolerate it. I thought Gleyber Torres was the most disrespected Yankee, but holy cow, is it Clayton Walter Holmes?
So I'm going to just step in there quickly. It's DJLeMVP. That's the most disrespected Yankee, and I have to deal with it. Well, yes,
obviously. DJLeMVP aside, of course.
No, all right. So you're my buddy, and I will humor you on this because I respect you. I respect your knowledge. I respect your opinions. My problem with him lies in the second half of the year. But again, I'll humor you because you're my pal. I think what people tend to misunderstand when you call him the modern Mariano Rivera is you're not saying his entire career is Mariano Rivera. You're not saying that he's won the Yankees 5 World Series. I mean, hell, he's been on the team for what, 2.5 years?
Since the middle of 21.
Okay. You're not saying that he is accolades-wise the same.
No.
You're arguing that this period, you are arguing, and correct me if I'm wrong, my friend, you are arguing that this period of time is Rivera-esque.
Absolutely.
And you know what? For that, I cannot fault you. I might not agree with you necessarily, but the numbers back up your claims.
They do.
And anybody that wants to argue toe-to-toe is not simply understanding your point.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to present it, because yeah, that's exactly the right way to present it. And here's what gets lost when I talk about Clay Holmes being the modern Rivera. What I'm talking about is that Clay Holmes gets batters out and limits damage in a way that is extremely similar, not only in approach, but in result as what Mariano Rivera did. And people who get offended by the modern Rivera comment say, you must have never watched Mo pitch. And, you know, yeah, call me when Clay Holmes is a unanimous Hall of Famer and all this stuff. I hate to break it to these people. Maybe they didn't watch Mo pitch, because the reason Mo was great and singular and unique was not that at every moment in his career, he was the hardest pitcher to get a hit off of in Major League Baseball. In fact, for almost all of his career, maybe all of his career, he was never that. You know, Eric Gagne was better than him at that. Francisco Rodriguez was better than him at that. Joe Nathan was at times better than him at that. Aroldis Chapman was at times better than him at that. Like, Mariano Rivera was not great because it was impossible to get a hit off him. Mariano Rivera was great because it was almost impossible to get a hit off of him, and he did it for 2 decades. And that people have decided to change the story of Rivera to act like nobody can match him on a game-to-game level just so they have an objection when I call Clay Holmes the modern Rivera is very silly. And you need only look at the leaderboard of OPS allowed as a Yankee. There are multiple guys ahead of Mariano Rivera. One of them is Dellin Betances, who's one of the most disrespected Yankees of all time. And another one of them is Clay Holmes.
No, I mean, listen, I definitely agree with the Betances argument. I am a pro Betances fellow myself, but
hometown kid.
I do think people, I don't know, I feel like they either intentionally misconstrue your point.
Well, there's a lot of that.
Yes, but I don't know. I feel like it's not necessarily, what's the best way to put this? He's doing very well. And I told you, the second I admit that, is the second that everything goes. So
that is probably true. So
I'm going to hold my ground and say he sucks being a team player. But no,
it is better for you to say that Clay Holmes sucks and be wrong so that Clay Holmes remains good than it is for you to admit that he's good and be right and then have him become bad. I
will very gladly own that.
And you know what? People should appreciate your contribution there, because not everyone is willing to stick out their neck with a take that is demonstrably false for the good of the team. and it's important that people understand the selflessness of that act. So Joey, we're getting to the end of this podcast, and I apologize to the people who really wanted us to talk about Jason Dominguez, Ben Rice, and their implications as it relates to the Anthony Rizzo situation. Anthony Rizzo's WRC plus from May 11th to June 11th was 10. So that's really bad. And the Yankees should do whatever they want. Yeah, that's 10. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to count WRC plus on your fingers, especially since I think Aaron Judge's was over 300 in that time, which shouldn't be possible. The Yankees can do whatever they want as it relates to Anthony Rizzo and his roster spot. Joey, every week, Whipple and I end this podcast with our confidence out of 10 in the New York Yankees. And you can interpret that however you want. And you've done this before, in fact. The Yankees are in first place in the AL East. The Yankees are up 6-0 on the Royals as we speak. The Yankees have the best record in the American League. The Yankees have the most wins in baseball. The Yankees have the best run differential in baseball. Given the way this game is going, the Yankees are going to end today with the highest WRC plus in baseball. There's almost nothing to dislike about them, but I don't know where you stand. It's been 15 years since they won the World Series. You could say that. You could come out with a 0. I don't know. Your total wild card, 1 to 10, your confidence in this team.
So as a vibes, as a vibes guy myself, I just want to give a quick shout out to Divine Sports Gospel, Padres guy. VAR, vibes above replacement. I dig that. The vibes have been electric. Everything has been great. And I'm going to go out of my way right now and give this team a solid 9 out of 10. I'm not going to go 10 out of 10. We'll get 10 out of 10 when we get the trophy. But right now, I'm giving them a solid 9 out of 10. I feel like there's not a single team that can step on the field right now and utterly dominate the New York Yankees. I don't think there's a single team that can step on. Go ahead.
I don't know who's out there thinking we're definitely better than the Yankees. I think the Dodgers are too smart to think that. I think the Orioles know that they just missed this Aaron Judge reign of terror during that series in Baltimore. The Braves are really struggling to score runs. The Phillies are phenomenal, but and we both like the Phillies, but
we do.
I don't know how proven the Phillies are. We'll have to see. It would be hard to take anyone seriously if they say we're clearly better than the Yankees. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I can't look anybody in the eye and say that your team is better than our team and have them be correct, because I can't take it seriously.
And this isn't basketball, and one player, it's not everything, but there's always the factor of we got Aaron Judge and you don't. And that matters. And that's why I'm at a 9 out of 10 as well.
Sorry.
We've never had someone die on the podcast before.
Long-time listener, first-time dyer. No. Let me just say, you're right. We have Aaron Judge and you don't. You know what else we have that you don't?
Soto. Holmes. Oh.
Yeah, me too. You know who else we have that's coming back that you don't?
Garrett Cole.
The reigning AL Cy Young winning baddest. Can I curse on this or no? No?
My grandma listens.
Okay, well then, baddest pitcher in baseball.
There we go.
Garrett Allen Cole coming back soon, and it's only going to get scarier.
It's only going to get scarier. And I'm reserving my 10 out of 10 for when Cole is back and first base is figured out, and maybe there's a Jason Dominguez sighting. But yeah, things are really freaking good for this team right now, and I'm really excited about it. So Joey, we're gonna get getting wrapped up so we can both go check out what the Yankees are doing with the rest of their time in Kansas City. They will go to Boston this weekend. I think you may be in attendance, maybe for a bit of an occasion.
I will be turning 28 on Friday. I will be there Friday and Saturday for Yankees Sox. It is going to be nothing short of electric. I think Luis Gil is actually scheduled to pitch. So I got Garrett Cole
and Chuck Rodon.
Woo! I got Garrett Cole last year. I'm getting Luis Gil this year. Nice to have a birthday where the best show up. So it's going to be electric. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to go ahead and say we sweep the Sox too.
Love that. All right. Well, Whipple and I will be back. Not similar time, similar place, same place, but earlier time next week to recap everything that goes on in the rest of the Royal Series and in the series in Boston. Joey, it's been terrific to have you on. Any parting shots before we wrap this up?
It's a pleasure as always, Will. Do me a favor though, guys. Throw us a follow on Crosstown Sports. That's Will's team, Will and Whipple, and my team, Caroline, Rich, Matt, and myself. And throw us a shout out. Throw us a follow on Battle of New York too, on Twitter at Battle of NYBB for baseball, because we can't put long things out there. But and give me a follow on Twitter at DJLeMVP. But other than that, it's a pleasure as always. You're the man.
And you can, of course, find all of that at the Crosstown Sports Network Twitter, which is at CrosstownSN. That's where the YouTube channel is. That's where you can find the Battle of New York. That's where you can find Yankees Files. But anyway, Joey, it was terrific to have you on. You made a phenomenal spot start. You are a true Cody Poteet, a true Sean Chacon, a true Aaron Small, and we could not appreciate that more. It is time for us to wrap this up, people can keep up with everything we're doing at YankeesFiles.com. They can keep up with everything we're doing on Twitter, where we are at YankeesFiles. Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, with the added bonus of video if you are listening and watching on Spotify. The whole video podcast is, of course, available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@CrosstownSportsNet. And we will be back next week to recap, as I said, everything that goes on in the rest of the series in Kansas City and everything that went on in Boston. Joey, I hope you have a phenomenal time there. And until next time, let's go Yankees.